Hey there. It is June 1st, 2018. welcome back to welcome back to my live stream. My name is Jeff Fritz, and I'm going to try a little experiment here. Starting on Fridays, I'm going to start F# Fridays. I've kind of had it as a goal for a while to learn F# to spend some time with the language, and I've had problems getting my stuff together, finding room, finding space in my schedule to do this. And what better time, what better way to do it than with some friends here on a Friday morning, checking out the language, going through some tutorials together, and then eventually working on a project, doing some pair programming with some folks in the F# community. So let's give this a shot. I'm going to start off. Let's play some music in the background here. Um, let's try purple today. So this is music to code by our friend Carl Franklin. So he's graciously allowed us to play his music here in the background. Thanks so much for the host, Dev Chatter. I appreciate that. And looks like Fierce Kittens is also hosting us. Let's see, who all do we have in the chat room? Hey, there we go. I see Coated Beard. I forget how to pronounce your name again up top there. Black Nemesis, good to see you. S&B, afternoon from sunny UK. First time catching the stream live. Sure hope the ideas behind F# are easier than those underlying Q#. I haven't spent any time with Q# yet, but we'll take a look at that at some point. Mosts is here. Hey, good to see you. All right. Hey, look, there's F# Fritz. I'll get to that in a second. Our former F# Friday, absolutely. Looking sharp there. Well, so I've got my Heroes of the Storm hat on. Played a little Heroes this morning, and I'm a big fan of that game. Let me tell you. Raining in Germany, huh, Tagaran? All right. Let's see. In the sunny part of Germany is where Black Nemesis is. Rain finally leaving us behind in Florida, according to, is that software engineer? Q# is magic and pixie dust. All right. So you may have seen me using my F# Fritz handle on Twitter. And the story goes like this. I was sitting at dinner, at a speaker dinner at an event, and I was sitting across from Miguel Diacaza, and Miguel says to me, why C# Fritz? Why not VB Fritz? Why not F# Fritz? And I said, well, I like C#. C#'s the language I've been using, and it started off as the name of my blog, C# on the Fritz. And I said, and I tried to get that whole name in as a Twitter account, but it was too long. So I dropped the on and the and it was just C# Fritz. And he said, well, still, why not F#? Why not VB? And I said, you know what, you're right. Somebody else already has the VB Fritz handle, but I went and on the spot there, I claimed the F# Fritz handle. So there you go. That's where I started with the F# Fritz handle, and I'll start using that. I'll start using that more and more. So, and big thank you to the folks in the F# community who have already reached out and said, hey, I want to give you some tips, give you some direction, some help with this idea of the F# Fridays. I think it'd be really neat. So big thank you to some of those folks. And let's see, where did it go? I want to make sure I call out real quick here. Let me make sure I get this right. I gotta grab this information. I want to put a big shout out there to, here we go. Let's do this. I want to make sure. Oh my gosh, Maker Blaker, thank you for the subscription. That's very kind of you. Of course, we'll match that and get that match donation sent over to our friends at Girl Develop It, so they can help women and underserved minorities learn how to write code. Deep Fritz code. How about Code Fritz? Nah. All right, so I want to start off by going over to going over here, we're back on my PC today, now that May is for Macs is over. We spent the whole month of May working on the Macintosh. I'm coming back to the PC here. That's where I'm most productive. But I want to have a shout out to our friend Isaac Abraham in the FSharp community. Isaac's a great developer with FSharp, and he wrote a book here, Get Programming with FSharp. He wrote it with forwards from Dustin Campbell, Thomas Petrusek. I encourage you to check this out if you want to read ahead, if you want to get into doing a little bit more with FSharp than I'm going to have time to go through here in just an hour or two on Fridays. So I'm going to spend some time myself reading through and learning this book, but I encourage you to check it out. So Get Programming with FSharp from Isaac. Looks like it's got a ton of material here that'll cover all the things that we eventually want to cover here on stream. But I'm a C# developer first and foremost. So FSharp's brand new to me, and I thought we would spend some time here on stream together, going through some tutorials, looking at how to learn the language, and spending some time working through those things and kind of talking through what they do. All right? So that's where I'm going to go with this. All right? And hopefully we learn some stuff together. Hopefully some of you in the chat room can offer some tips, offer some direction. If you're familiar with the language, then I am. But I hope this is a learning experience for us together here. Trovarius, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate that. Good morning, Steve. I bet you don't know FSharp, do you, Steve? We're going to need to get with the program together. FSharp Friday is pretty cool. Will this become a regular thing? I hope so. We'll see. Why would you use FSharp? Well, there's some folks that would say, why wouldn't you use FSharp? Why use FSharp? And I think FSharp is great for specialist areas such as scientific or data analysis. It's an excellent choice for enterprise development. I think over here in Wikipedia there's a good description of it. It's a strongly typed multi-paradigm programming language that encompasses functional, imperative, and object-oriented programming methods. Most often used as a cross-platform common language infrastructure language, but also generates JavaScript graphics processing unit code. So what I've seen and where I hear people really succeed with FSharp, it's a functional language. It's great for doing math quickly and easily, so graphics processing works great with, but you can use it, and I see Brendan's pointing out that insurance companies use it. Certainly, if you're doing adjustments, you're doing all kinds of math that you need to process quickly. FSharp variables are immutable. That means that they can't be changed. You actually have to set up a new variable as you're programming. So it means that you can run things multi-threaded very, very quickly. Functional programming is said to be somewhat better than object-oriented programming, at least in some areas. Yes. So at certain things, in certain areas, it's better, right? But, here's a question over here on Stack Overflow. What are the benefits of C# and FSharp, or FSharp versus C#? Easy integration with compilers. Now, the FSharp community has actually built a little bit of their own compiler. They've extended on, and they've built the Fake project to help with building your applications better, right? Fake kind of goes along with Cake, the C# Make project. Units of measure, flexible syntax, often shorter and more elegant solutions. This is one thing that I worry about, because as a programmer, I want to be able to hand things over to somebody else, and I want to make sure that it's descriptive of exactly what I'm doing. So, all right. We should always be the question. I started with Vala and don't even know why. I've known about FSharp for a long time, but never used it. Okay. So it sounds like we've got a couple folks that have known about it, but never used it, never tried it. So we're kind of in the same boat here. This is tryfsharp.com. Okay, that answer is somewhat outdated. There are right? Why FSharp, right? Why use FSharp for fun and profit? Oh, look at this. FSharp for fun and profit. Is this a blog by somebody? Do you understand what all the fuss is about functional programming? This site will introduce you to FSharp. Okay. Thinking functionally is critical to getting the most out of FSharp, so I'll spend a lot of time on getting the basics down. Avoid too much discussion of hybrid and object-oriented features. C# has async now. C# has always had asynchronous capabilities. It has an async keyword now that makes it, it's almost like syntactic sugar. The compiler still rebuilds things the same way. So we'll take a look at that. This site focuses on mainstream business problems such as domain-driven design, website development, data processing, business rules, and so on. So the number one requested feature for ASP.NET web forms right now on user voice is FSharp support. But if you ask people, would you really use FSharp with web forms? No, not really. Okay, well, let's not do that. Have I missed much? Nope, haven't missed anything yet. No, I had to start a little bit late here. I had some kid problems to deal with. So, many people claim that learning to think functionally will, quote, blow your mind. Well, it's true. Learning a completely new paradigm is exciting and stimulating, and I hope it is for me, too. You may fall in love with programming again. When did I not be in love with programming? Don't be scared. FSharp can look intimidating if you look at complex code without any background in the beginning. Keep it very simple. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, fine. Okay. You should read. All right, so let's go back to why use FSharp. Not cluttered up with coding noise such as curly brackets, semicolons, and so on. There is a bit of ceremony to C# or those C-based languages, right? Java has this also. Lots of curly braces, semicolons. You see it also in JavaScript. You almost never have to specify the type of an object thanks to powerful type inference system, and compared to C#, it generally takes fewer lines of code to solve the same problem. I'm not sure that that's a benefit. Maybe I'll change my mind when we learn more FSharp. The language for those with a broken heart, says Maxime. No, stop it. FSharp, C#, and Q#, so good languages. Okay, we'll see here. So one-liners, this looks like 1 to 100, list.sum, and then print sum equals %d. So it looks like we're piping things along here, right? I don't know what this operator is yet. So simple types in one line, type person equals, and this looks like our new value tuple syntax that we have in C#. Complex types in a few lines, type employee, and then we've got a vertical pipe, worker of person, manager of employee list. Okay. Happy to join FSharp Fridays. Hey Bruno, good to see you. Yeah, let's see what we learn here, all right? Convenience. Many common programming tasks are much simpler in FSharp. Includes things like creating and using complex type definitions, doing list processing, comparison and equality, state machines, and much, much more. All right. Automatic equality and comparison. There's definitely something to this being more difficult in C# right now. Easy disposable logic with the use keyword. I miss that. I do. We had that in Visual Basic 6, right? We had a use keyword that was a little bit easier. Or was it using? No, it was use, I think. All right, the pipe is sort of similar to an extension method, except you can treat any function as if it was an extension method. Okay, that sounds cool. I was running along with falling in love with programming all over again. All right, Heroes of the C# Storm. Hey, that's not a bad idea. Wait, I might work with that. Hey, Max says coding. Hey, there's Coding with Luce. Good to see you. When do we get J# Monday? Oh, Isaac, no. J# is long gone. Strict type checking. All right, correctness. F-sharp powerful type system. Null reference values are immutable by default, which prevents a large class of errors. I hear that, and they're trying to bring those features into C#. So I'm very curious to see how we learn and use this in F#. You can often encode business logic using the type system itself in such a way that it is actually impossible to write incorrect code. I've heard this a lot. This is something my friend Rachel Reese told me this a few years ago, and Rachel said to me, Jeff, it's impossible to write exceptions if you write your F# correctly. And I never took her up on that, and that's bad on me. But this is a bold statement. I know, Rick, it is. So I want to see how that plays out. You can often encode business logic using the type system itself in such a way that it is actually impossible. Okay. Or mix up units of measure, greatly reducing the need for unit tests. I was here before Kay was just logged in with my gaming account. You have multiple Twitch accounts? Because there are no exceptions? I don't know. Correctly means very, very defensively with BCL methods. Between exceptions and sentinel return values, you sometimes have to massage into a nice immutable form. Okay. So you'll get a compiler error if you try and push 1, 2, 3 into print string. All values are immutable by default. This is an assignment error. Okay, I don't understand that yet. Never have to check for nulls. Let string can always be appended to safely. Okay. Embed business logic into apps. Empty shopping cart dot remove would throw a compile error. That printf looks a lot like C. Yeah. I agree. I don't know how I feel about that. String.last index of returning -1 when not found instead of not found result of some kind. For watching gamers and for watching code. Eventually, when I have better internet, I plan to stream while coding. Oh, cool. Let JDoe first equals Jane, last equals Doe. All right. It's sort of your brand. It's what you call your YouTube channel. Cool. Yeah, I've gone and I'm starting to grab the Fritz and Friends names out there. We'll see how much I can grab and capture that brand. Easy async logic with the async keyword. Okay. So F# has a number of built-in libraries to help with more than one thing at a time. Asynchronous programming, very easy, as is parallelism. F# also has a built-in actor model and excellent support for event handling and functional reactive programming. And of course, because data structures are immutable by default, sharing state and avoiding locks is much easier. So async.parallel. So we can do a parallel.for in C#. So this looks similar here. All right, message queues, mailbox processor.start. Fun inbox. I'm guessing this is defining a function inbox such that async. Now I'm kind of lost in the syntax here. I'm not quite sure what this is doing. Inbox, receive off of that queue, and then print the message. Let's get back to that. So sounds similar to akka.net principles. I think so. String interpolation is a lot better. All right. Although it is a functional language at heart, F# does support other styles which are not 100% pure, which makes it much easier to interact with the non-pure world of websites, databases, and other applications. In particular, F# is designed as a hybrid, functional, object-oriented language such that you can do virtually everything that C# can do. Yeah, so my friends, the Rachels, used to do a presentation. Everything you can do, I can do better, and it was Rachel Reese showing things in F# and Rachel Appel showing the same things in C#. Kind of neat. The real world is non-pure and full of mutations. There's ways around that, I understand. I guess we'll learn about that. Finally, it is well integrated with Visual Studio, which means you get a great IDE with IntelliSense support, a debugger, and many other plugins for unit tests, source control, and other development tasks. Or on Linux, you can use MonoDevelop IDE instead. Now, The recommendation that I've heard from some of our friends in the F# community is to check out Ionide. Now, I understand that Ionide is a plugin, is a enhancement for Visual Studio Code. No, Ionide, there it is. That Christoph Cieslik, I hope I pronounced your name right, Christoph, created to help write F#. It's a Visual Studio Code package suite for cross-platform F# development. So here's the thing, right? F# comes in the box with .NET Core. So I think I'm going to be doing and learning F# using .NET Core because it's cross-platform. And Ionide sounds like it's the real deal as an editor to help with F#. Ionide includes all the necessary features you'll find in a modern IDE, autocomplete, tooltips, document formatting, syntax error highlighting, and many more. F# Interactive. With FSI as part of the editor, you can run F# scripts easily for fast feedback and iteration. So that's kind of cool. Right? That's a neat way to test and tinker with some source code. I don't like using the word play with code. I like using tinker, right? Play feels too informal, right? Because we're professional software developers, and I want to write code my way.
Done exactly how I want it.
Yes, of course.
The only question is, are you the man to do it?
Of course I am. Project scaffolding. The Forge makes creating new projects quick and simple. Features supported only in Visual Studio Code. Packet integration. Integration and widely used and universally loved package manager. Packet allows for easy management of application dependencies with none of the headaches of trying to use NuGet with a version control system. NuGet with version control isn't too bad now. Electron is cancer. Oh, Malachi. I'd use VS because it uses less resources than Visual Studio Code. No, disagree. F# is open source now and on GitHub. Wasn't aware. Oh, yes. So, if I go to github.com, I think it's F#, just F#. Yep, there it is, the FSharp Foundation. And there's the F# compiler right there. So that's pretty cool to see. Right, and there's 16 repositories here. There's fake. So all kinds of stuff. Very active community, very passionate community working on the language here. All right. So let's take a... Where'd it go? There's Ionide. So let's get our hands on Ionide. Features, kind of everything you would expect. Okay, project management, blah 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 blah. MS build, X build integration, blah blah blah. Getting started requirements. All right, installing on Windows. Well, I think I've already got F# because I installed it with Visual Studio 2017. So if I go to my installer. Come on, it's hiding down here. There it is. There's my installer. Yes. It's really amazing what Microsoft managed to do with it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Totally random question. Why doesn't .NET Core have an official logo? There is a marketing decree at Microsoft that... I'm going to go to modify here. I don't want to update Visual Studio while I'm here with you here online. If I go to individual components and I scroll down here, debugging and testing, development activities. There we go. See, I've lit up all of my F# support here for Visual Studio. All right. So, where was I? So we've got F# installed. But it comes out of the box with the .NET SDK. So to finish about why .NET Core doesn't have a logo. So the decree is that Products have logos. Frameworks, functionality do not. They can have mascots, but they do not have logos. It's a way to keep branding concise, keep things focused on .NET. .NET actually, and .NET Core, they don't really have logos. It's the word on a background. So I wouldn't call that so much a logo. C#, there's a C#, and actually for FSharp also, if you go to github.com, I think it's .NET-swag? No, where is it? .NET/swag? Is that where it is? Here we go. There are, if I go to this one, right? I mean, it's really, for a logo. But for C#, there are, and C# and F#, right? There are these logos. And actually, you can get this now as an emote if you want to do that top subscription to the channel. You can get the C# shield as an emote. There's also an F# one that looks very similar. If we get the I'm in a holding pattern right now, waiting to get approved for Twitch partnership. If we get the partnership, I'm going to probably turn some of these other logos into emotes here on the stream as well. There you go. There's the VB one. So I do want to do some VB conversations here on stream, not on FSharp Fridays, but I would like to do some of that, and I think we'll bring in some folks from the VB community to talk about that. Oh, you have the t-shirt. That's awesome. Yep, the Docs has a mascot, right? I don't have hats with them, and I'm really thinking about getting hats made with them, because that would be really cool. I have stickers for C# Superman. If you're going to be at Philly Tech 365 to see Jeff, find me, and I'll find you one. There you go. And that's that swag repository. Those are logos that anybody can download. You can have stickers made if you like. You can have T-shirts made, and there actually is a place to order those. Is that DejVX? Thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. Welcome to the stream. Let me go back to that swag repository. There's a link here to jump off and order stickers on Sticker Mule t-shirts. So .NET Foundation, .NET Source, Cup of Tea, .NET Bot. I use that, of course. If you subscribe, you get the .NET Bot emote you can use anywhere on Twitch. Roslyn logo. See, it's Roslyn and Prism, right? These are external projects that folks have built. Reactive UI, Wix toolset, but the save the day ones, where'd it go? Right, if you want to order t-shirts, if you'd like that, all kinds of t-shirts that you can get here, and you can change the backgrounds, the base colors on these. Oh, thanks for the follow, Chusk. Is it Chusk or is it Chusky? Let me know on that. Kudu, right? So, kind of neat, So maybe I'll get my hands on some of that. Like to watch videos? No, I don't want to watch videos. I'm making a video. All right. So some introduction, F# syntax, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to go back, and I would like to... Here we go. Here's how you can install Ionide. Ionide F# for Visual Studio Code. Shirt of Tea, says McNerdius. That's pretty cool. You really need an identity server? Go for it. I'm trying to come up with stickers for here, so we'll work on that. I'm gonna start with Visual Studio Code over here. Let's close this solution. Close folder. There we go. All right. Let's go find some extensions, and I'm going to search for Ionide. There it is, Ionide F#. Enhanced F-Sharp language features for Visual Studio Code. Fantastic. Yes, give me some. Wow, Automod is a little rough this morning. Apparently I can't say hi. Hey, Fierce Kittens, good to see you. What did you say? What did you do? Let's do this. Before I go too much further, let's make sure we take care of that. There we go. I'm gonna pass a sword over to Fierce Kittens there. Okay, so it did the reload. What's the next thing it says to do there to get ready? I need to be on this one. There we go. Option 3, install JetBrains Rider. No, we're not going to do that. Install F-Sharp compiler and tools alone. So like I said, this comes, all the F-Sharp tools come with .NET Core. So if you've, the .NET SDK, right? So if you've gone to .NET, F-Sharp today, super awesome. Yes, Fubarius, absolutely. Hey, Fierce Kittens. All right, Sushinator. You got to check out Fierce Kittens' stream. Gosh, last night she was doing watercolor, but dressed as Sailor Moon. That's commitment. And aren't you doing a Doctor Who stream later on here? I'm a big fan of the Doctor Who streaming on Twitch. That's going to be really cool to check out. If you haven't seen it, Beyond the Trailer, that's a YouTube show that Grace, I forget her last name. You're doing 13th Doctor cosplay starting Monday. Now wait, 13th Doctor, let me make sure I have this right. That was the last guy, the current guy, the guy who just wrapped up. It's not okay. David Tennant was 2 before that. After David Tennant was Matt Smith, and it's Peter Capaldi. So you're going to dress as Peter Capaldi with the cool sunglasses? Sweet. So if you download the .NET SDK from here, you get the tools to build and work with F-Sharp, right? So, right, let me just go to the command line. I'm going to go to a dev folder here, and let's just call this FS first. Right, if I go down into here, I thought it was in PowerShell. Right, and if I say .NET new, right, I can create projects and specify the language is F-Sharp, even ASP.NET Core applications, and start building F-Sharp applications, start building ASP.NET Core with F-Sharp. Rumor has it C# Fritz will borrow Fierce Kitten's chicken costume for a stream in June. So I'm looking at doing a charity, like a 12-hour charity stream in October. There's a number of folks at Microsoft that want to do more charity things in the month of October. We could do something with that. Any links for her videos? For Fierce Kitten's videos? Twitch.tv/Fierce Kittens will get you in there. Automod didn't want to show my first message of the day. No, the new one. The woman. Oh, you're going to dress as Jody. Oh, nice. Going to mention my template mini scaffold that gives you a whole solution template for building Net 4.6.1 and Net Standard 2.0 libs. Tell you what, the Angry Bird. For F-Sharp. Do me a favor. Whisper me a link to that, and I'll include it in the wrap-up for this. All right? And go ahead and post the link there in the chat so folks can see it, and we'll include that in the notes for this show when we post this over on YouTube. See, that's why I want to get that thing finished with the Fritz bot, all right? I want my bot that's in the room to grab those links and automatically generate a page of links and show notes from the show, right? I'm actually a lazy developer, right? And I like to take my time. And I don't want to spend time writing up show notes. And I don't want to spend time doing that things. Will I change my nickname from C# Fritz to F# Fritz? Already done and on Twitter. Check it out, F# Fritz on Twitter. And no, that's not a doppelganger over there. Yeah, that's me. and we'll play with that. All right, gonna mention my. I've seen most of it, and I'm at work. I can only bounce around when I can. Yeah. Poor VB. No, Nimi. Wait till you see what we're gonna do with VB. All right, 80 folks here. Oh my gosh, thank you so much, everybody, for joining in. But I can start, even though I don't know how to use it, I can start a new. Right, let's do a .NET new console application. And you specify the language. I believe it's a -L parameter. Right, -L will let me force the language. No, ooh, not that one. Which one is it to specify language? -lang. All right, let's do that. -lang. And then I'm going to say FSharp. See if that works. And there we go. Look, it created FSproj files, installing FSharp core 434, creating my MS build file, blah, 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 blah. And if I do a directory here, I've got one file, right? And let's not PowerShell. Let's do PowerShell because I think I have VI over here, right? Can I do? Oh, nuts! Do I have VI? No, rats. All right, let's just do a more than on program. Okay. So looking at that, right, as a C# developer, I know that this template is going to do a console write line, but it's weird to me, this open system entry point. Okay, I can get that. Let main argv print fn hello world from FSharp. So if I just do a .NET run here, right, it'll run, right, it'll compile. Finally, someone's streaming FSharp. We're learning it. We're getting there, right? I have zero experience with FSharp beyond that. Okay, that right there, right there. Right, there we go. That's it. So we're going to learn. Elmish is for functional state management. All right. I'll keep that in mind. So I have Ionide installed now. We can start looking at this. Oh, look, our friend Isaac is tweeting about this right now. Thanks so much, Isaac, for tweeting that. And we had that shout out about the book earlier. I'll make sure that we include a link to Isaac's book in the show notes as well. All right. Let's actually go over to visuals. How do I want to do this? How should we do this? I want to start and go through the tutorial over here. Here's the thing, and there's a note here, right? I can't run FSharp in the browser because this actually runs with Silverlight, and I don't have Silverlight installed because Silverlight. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put this side by side. Let's do this over here, and I'm not going to use full Visual Studio. I want to try using those Ionide plugins, right? I've heard good things about Ionide, so let's give it a shot. I know, Maxime, Silverlight, right? But this is from Microsoft Research over here, so we'll give this a shot. And I wish there was a way that I could make... Ooh, can I do that? Oh, good. All right. There's a website redesign coming soon with a new version of Try FSharp that's all in browser using Fable. Okay. Now, right, just to make sure I have my lingo down, okay? Fable and FSharp, a compiler that emits JavaScript from FSharp. Cool. All right. As long as you're not using Flash, says Max. Well, come on now. Come on now. Let's be friendly. Let's be nice. Everybody gets an opportunity here, and today's FSharp's opportunity. All right. Bindings and values and REPLs. Oh my. JavaScript. Yeah, I know Fierce Kitten's not a fan of the JavaScript. I know. I use Emacs and sometimes Vim. What do you use? I'm a Vim user. Ionide VS Code mostly. All right, here we go. So let's try this first one. Bindings and values. With Try FSharp, writing your first line of FSharp code is much easier than it is with many other languages. To get started, try typing the following code into the script window, which doesn't work, and pressing the Run button or Control Enter. Now, it said that this isn't working over here, but I should be able to do that FSharp, right? Right, let's go back to the Ionide bit here. How do I use let's getting started. All right. Quick install guide. Ionide plugins can be installed using the new VS Code extension gallery. This is one of the featured in. All right, so let's click through here. I want to bring up the REPL, right? And REPL is, I think read eval print loop, right? So it's going to read whatever code I type in, evaluate it, and let me loop do it again. All right, getting started, Visual Studio Code in action, blah, 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 blah. That's, no. I didn't want to go over into docs. No, I want to open the FSharp REPL. Oh, wait a sec. I've got a FSharp button down here. Let's try that. And there's nothing here. Hide sidebar. New file? Now, I thought I saw that the file was named FSX. So if I say save as FS first, I'm just going to create another folder here. Stuff. Ooh, don't do that. First dot, and I think it was FSX. Is that what it was? All right. So now, oh, look at this. FSharp code outline. Neat. All right. So let lucky equals 3 plus 4. Let lucky equals 3 plus 4. And do control enter. Well, that didn't work. But there's a play button up here. Run script. Yeah. It didn't tell me anything. Open the command palette with control and choose FSI start. Oh, there's Christoph. Thank you. FSI start. Cool. Let's do that. Oh, so now here's the FSharp interactive. Fantastic. Oh my gosh. That makes sense. So let's get rid of this. No, I don't want that. So now if I say let 3 plus 4, or I'm sorry, let lucky equals 3 plus 4. And it didn't. It's not actually running it. Return value. Yeah, how do I return the value? If everything went smoothly, the output window should have printed val lucky. Don't forget the semicolon. Execute the command using semi. Ah, okay. All right, let's try that again. There we go. Nope. Oh, wait a sec. Duplicate definition value. Okay. Try that again. Running the contributed command. Oh no. Okay. Let lucky equal 3 plus 4. For help type. Okay, there we go. So I did a control enter to get that to fire. All right, got it. So FSharp doesn't need semicolons, really. Oh no, it thinks all those values were put together. Ah, okay. I got it. Okay. So, all right, so I've done that. All right, you should have just executed. It should have printed val lucky equals, yep, behind the scenes, try FSharp executed the simple program using the REPL, right? So we've seen there's a REPL also in full Visual Studio as well. And there's also, is this FSI? Is that what I saw this is called? If you've done any programming in a language with REPL, you know that they are handy tools for exploratory programming. We also have the try.net application that does something similar. Has anyone created a Visual Studio installer and managed to have desktop shortcuts have the run as admin option? Yes. Yes. Not as an installer, but you can update the you can update your shortcut. Let me come down here. If you look at the shortcut here, if I right-click and then right-click on this, I can go to Properties. Right, so there it is, how it runs it. There is is. Where is it? There's a doodad here that you can check that says run as administrator, and I forget. There it is. Run as administrator. And it'll always run it as administrator. But you shouldn't have to. All right. You can execute just one line of code by highlighting it in the script window and clicking the run button instead of Control-Enter. Well, I'm not doing that. So this one says let unlucky equal lucky plus 6, semi, Control-Enter, and it says int equals 13. Oh, okay, yep. The REP will use the value of lucky in the first statement that you entered to calculate the new result. Yeah, of course, right? So the REPL remembers the entire syntax, right? The entire state of where we've left things here. Which then begs the question, how do I clear the buffer? An installer solution project from Visual Studio. Oh, I'm not familiar with that. There you Oh, thank you, Christoph. FSI equals FSharp Interactive. That makes sense. Nice acronym there. Values and bindings. And now that you're a master of executing FSharp code, I wouldn't go that far yet. I mean, come on, right? Oh, right, I'm getting to it. Execute the following code to see what happens when you try to modify a let binding. Let duplicated equals original value. Original value. Okay, so there's that. Let duplicated equal new value. Hang on. Let duplicated original value. Let duplicated equal new value. Okay, so I get an error because I tried to reassign it, right? This is the immutable by default feature, right? It is similar to declaring variable as const or final in other languages. Yep. Just do FSI start again to clear the buffer. Oh, okay. When I create an MSI file with that extension, it creates a desktop shortcut that has no run as admin. I don't know about that. Also, if you have mono, its command is FSharp I. Oh, did not know that. Thanks for the tip, Angry Bird. Okay. If you've programmed in other languages, you might be wondering if you can create a binding that you can modify. FSharp does allow for mutable bindings, but you must be explicit. All right. So if I do FSI start again, right, which was... No, I don't want to be down there. Right, if I do... I don't understand why it says it failed. All right, so I'm back in here. Let mutable... I'm just going to call it M. That's way too long. Original value. All right, so then if I say M, and then we use this arrow, and we say new value. All right, so it comes out as new value, and I've got this val it unit equals, and then parens. Don't know what that is yet. Mutable keyword denotes that that modifiable is a mutable binding. So I called it M, but it's mutable. It can be changed, right? I know computer science folks love using the words immutable and mutable, and it gets confusing to lay people. I don't understand why it failed neither. Yeah, I know. Okay. The assignment operator, so that's what this arrow is. It's not a less than and subtract. It's actually assigning. It's an arrow. Okay, so this is an arrow that says instead of doing an equals like we do in VB or C#, we use the arrow to assign that value. Got it. That makes sense. So I guess then, well, it says assign and change, right? Because we defined this and assigned using that equals. Val it equals unit means that it returned none or void. Okay, we'll get back to that. The mutable keyword can come in handy from time to time, but you should use normal let bindings when possible. Okay. Not only are immutable bindings idiomatic, in F#, but they also make your code easier to read, write, and maintain. Okay. Shadowing. Oh, shadowing. Sounds spooky. No. As you build up a program in the REPL, you may want to overwrite a let binding that you previously made. Okay. You can do that by using a technique called shadowing. Execute the following two code snippets separately for an example of how to do that. I think that's kind of what I did by accident a minute or two ago. Let shadowed equal original value. Okay. And then do let shadowed equal new value. Right. By running two snippets separately, you avoided the duplicate definition error. It might look like the second snippet changed the original shadowed binding, but that's not quite what happened. Instead, the second statement created a new binding that shadowed or covered up the original. Now, why is that? Is that because it's in separate scope? It's not clear to me. If you'd like, you can try updating the shadowed variable with the assignment operator to see that it is still an immutable binding. It is, oh, it's not separate. Okay, hang on. It's not separate scope. I've redefined it. So I guess I've discarded the original value in that original definition, and I'm now using this. Ninko, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. This is a slightly more up-to-date getting started guide over on the F# tour. Okay. Oh, thank you. Types. I'll tell you what, I'll finish this page, and then we'll flip over to that guide, and we'll take a look. Between the REPL... oh, wait. If you'd like, you can try... Oh, we already read that. All right. Between the REPL and the lightweight let syntax, it's easy to mistake F# for a dynamically typed language like Ruby or Python. No. Ruby and Python are a little bit different. F# is actually statically typed language like C#, Java, and C++. Bonus. I prefer that. That's my preference, right? Your mileage may differ. Look closely at the output of the following snippet. All right, I'm going to try and read this first and figure out what it's doing. Let an int equals 10. Let a float equals 20.0. Let a string equals I'm a string. Now, coming from C#, I don't see a type wired up to these, so I'm going to guess that this is doing a little bit of duck typing like we do with the var keyword in C#. And because it sees a type that it's assigning that looks like something that it knows about, that it's going to automatically make an int, a float, and a string those types. Let's see what we got here. So I will try that. An int equals 10. Let a float equals 20.0. And then last was let a string equals I'm a string with an exclamation point. All right, semicolon, and all right, I was right. So that really makes sense to me. I like that because it's a pain in the neck to always declare variable types when you're already saying, give me a new one of these things, and I'm already saying, give me a new string, give me a new, I don't know, whatever object, right? A new account object, a new product object. Well, all right, it's giving me int, float, and string here. Cool. All right. So that makes sense. He literally wrote the book. Yes, he did. All right. Shows the type of binding for each. For example, yep, okay, blah, 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 blah. F# type systems helps you to avoid errors as your programs grow in complexity by making sure you don't try to perform operations on values that don't support them. Well, that's generally what a strongly typed language does, so good. All right, we're on the same page here. However, unlike most statically typed languages, F# goes through great lengths to infer the types for you, types of values for you. Okay, with F# you get the readability benefits of a dynamic language with the robustness of a statically typed language. C#'s trying to do that also, but I get it. Makes sense to me. Sometimes you may want to print a message to users of your programs in F#, and we were seeing this printfn statement everywhere. Hello world from try F#, of course. Printfn, hello world from FSharp Fritz. Right. Makes sense. The above code snippet prints a beautiful message to the output window. Okay, now you're getting cheeky there. Come on now. You can also use statements to debug your programs by printing values. You do that using special formatting characters. Yeah, var is nice, a nice feature. But right, looks like we get the same thing here with let instead of var. All right, 3 different characters, big deal. Time to switch. No more coffee. No escape. I know. Okay. Console, all right, so this one was print fn. The answer is %d 42. Okay. Yeah. All right. %d says to insert the integer there in the output string. Console logging is common. FSharp has a feature you might not expect in FSharp. Your formatting strings are type checked against the arguments to avoid programming mistakes. The following will result in an error. So is %d looking for a digit? Is that what D is standing for? The type string is not compatible, blah, 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 blah. With any of the types, yep, with those digits, arising from use of a printf style format string. Okay. For a full list of formatting options, see this page. Show me. Okay. So %d formats any basic integer as a decimal integer signed if the basic integer type is signed. Yeah, it's inserting a digit. %s formats a string. Okay. Hexadecimal with %x. Why can't it just infer the type instead of having to type %d? %d is a, and I see %d is right. This is a formatting string. We're telling it this is a decimal that you're putting here, so we're being a little bit more specific about the format that we want, right? Christoph says FSharp type inference is a bit more powerful than just doing var, as you'll see later. Spoiler alert. Engelzowski, no more Mac? That was Maze for Max. So we're shifting off. All right. So I'm going to try rolling over. Excuse me. So we're using Ionide, the Ionide plugins here. But Isaac said to check out the Docs Microsoft FSharp tour. So here's FSharp down here. Learning FSharp. Tour of FSharp was where we're going. I know. Spoiler alert for FSharp. I know what you mean, WTF blub. What the blub? Let me know. So, and there were almost 80 of us here following along earlier. I hope this is making sense to you as I'm walking through this as well. You know, this I'm getting where we're going with this stuff. It's making sense to me. Can I just type clear in here to? No, that's not going to work. I want to clear my terminal. No. If I click the little trash can. Oh, there we go. Good. But I want this to be... No, not PowerShell. No! And then if I go back to that... I don't know why I keep saying it failed. Because when I open it, it's right there. So what happens when I type #help? Yeah, look at this. All right. Reference, dynamically load the given DLL. Add the given search path for a reference DLL. Load the given files as if compiled and referenced. Toggle timing on and off. Display help and exit. All right. I just want to make sure that the content that we have here is visible above my head here. I'm going to hide that FSharp bar so I get a little bit more room. And let's actually move this over to this side and put this above me here. Let's write some FSharp code. Functions and modules. Ooh, that's a lot of code. All right, hang on. This article will act as a tour through some of the key features and give you some code snippets you can execute on your machine. To learn more about setting up, check out Getting Started. We don't need to get started. We're already there. The most fundamental pieces are functions organized into modules. Okay. Functions perform work on inputs to produce outputs, and they are organized under modules, which are the primary way you group things in FSharp. Okay. They're defined using the let binding and give the function a name and define its arguments. So here's sample function assigning the sample function, I guess, the result to result1. And then there's %d formatting with, okay. When needed, annotate the number of annotate the type of a parameter using the argument :type. Oh, we're familiar with that syntax from C#. Parentheses are required. Yeah, that makes sense. You know, we've seen this type of syntax with value tuples in C#. Let result2 equals sample function 2 7 plus 4. Okay. So this is a function we're declaring. We're specifying here's the type of the argument, and then equals, and then here's the body of the function. Okay. So how do I run this? I don't see a run button or anything. Let's just read some code. It'll be create a new FSX file, write the code in it, and then send code to FSI with Control-Enter. Oh, all right. So I had. Let's do that. I had a. There we go. All right, so let's copy this. Paste. All right. Yeah, this feels weird that I can't. Can I just. Ah! No, don't do that. No, nuts. Alright. Yeah, go away. Why am I not getting. I'm not getting my. Alright, I'm confused. I'm not. There it is. Alright. FSI. Hang on. Write some code into it. Alright, highlight it and Control-Enter. Control-Enter isn't doing anything. And then send code. Yeah. And I can't get FSI open again. If I do Control-Alt-P, it's not doing anything. No, that didn't do anything. Well, that's kind of cool. Right, highlighting the code. Stop it! And mousing over it, it's giving it's giving me a definition as to what this is. Okay. Try the command palette. Yeah, I'm trying when I do Control P. Yeah. All of my commands are missing. Let's save this. Let's reload this. Where's the stupid reload? Right, if I try and do a Control-Alt-P. Oh, there it is. Thank you. See, now if I click the trash can, it's gonna nuke it again. So if I highlight, Control-Enter, that didn't send it down into the interactive. Alt in Windows, yeah. All right. Control-Enter isn't. No, nope, it's not sending it down into the other window. If I mouse over this, right, it'll run everything. So if I highlight, what the heck are you doing here? And click that. So it ran the entire script. Yeah. If I do Shift Enter, nope, that really didn't work. What is that? Send file, yes, do that. No, don't send the file. I don't want the whole file down there. Right, I mean, it ran everything. Okay, I guess that's fine. So this is the result of those print statements. All right, hang on. Let sample function x equals, okay, so it's, I guess it's telling me here that, you know, the result is this basic functions module, and it has a sample function 1 function, has sample function 2 function that takes in, and both of these take in ints and return ints. And sample function 3 takes in a float and outputs a float. So it's inferring that. Okay. Now, right, that's on multiple lines. Okay. So we've got similar if-then-else statements that we're used to. All right, that makes sense to me. This line uses print %f to print the result as a float, but it's type safe. It's going to make sure that it is a float. Yeah. Okay. Those make sense to me. Let bindings are also how you bind a value to a name similar to variables in other languages, right? Let bindings are immutable by default. Yep, we saw that. When mutating, we're going to use, right, what's the name of that operator? Is it just assign? I want to make sure that I'm reading that properly. But we already did this basically over in the other tutorial. Numbers, booleans, and strings. As a .NET language, it supports the same underlying types. So, right, we're used to seeing some of these out there. Right, integer, floating point, and we don't have to use the F or the C or the M notation, right, or D, right, to make those type. It's just kind of picking it up. This computed a new number by some arithmetic. Numeric types are converted using functions, int, double, and so on. So, is this executing the int function on sample double? This is a list of the numbers from 0 to 99. I really like that syntax. I'm guessing because it's using the square brackets, it's inclusive, right? This is a list of all the tuples containing all of the numbers from 0 to 99 and their squares. This is a list of all the tuples containing all the numbers. Okay, that's confusing to me. So let's come over here. Oh, okay. So for I, all right, so we're dynamically allocating I in 0 to 99. Okay, so for lower bound 0, ... so counting up to 99. And then this is like that such that, right? The fat arrow operator, it looks like in C#. We're going to create a value tuple. Well, a tuple, right? I'm used to calling them value tuples because of it. Yeah, I, so it's whatever I is, and then the square. That makes sense. All right. And it's enclosed in square brackets, so that list is assigned to sample table of squares. Okay. But why is it int star int and not int comma int? Right? The next line prints a list that includes tuples using %a for generic printing. Really? What's that look like? Okay. So it formats it as a string as best. Star is the syntax for tuples. Okay, so int star int is a tuple of 2 ints. Oh, so where in C# we use commas to separate, we're using stars to separate. But we used a comma to define it here. Tuples are considered a Cartesian product of the sets of types making up the tuple. So a tuple of 2 ints is int star int. Okay, let's come back to that. Boolean values are true and false, of course. Operators on Booleans are not. Is that double ampersand? Is that what people call it? And double vertical pipe. This line uses %b to print a Boolean value. This is type safe. It's not considered a Cartesian product by. It's kind of confusing. I need to unlearn a little bit of what I'm doing here and what I've done in C#, right, and convert. But definitely seeing, where did it go here? Int star int here, right? I guess because that's 2 types, and this is, right, 2 variables being multiplied, 2 values being multiplied. So, okay, I get that. And here's what string manipulation looks like. Strings use double quotes. Don't tell that to the JavaScript people. Right? They've gone all single quote. They've like rebelled against everybody else and said, we're going to single quotes. Screw you. All right. No, it's a struct. Okay. Strings can also use the @ sign to create a verbatim string literal. Just like we do, I guess, in C#. This will ignore escape characters such as //n, that's new line, /t, that's tab. So, yeah, string literals can also use triple quotes. Ugh. The computer said hello world when I told it to. Okay. String concatenation is normally done with the plus operator. Sure, just like C#. This line uses %s to print a string value. This is type safe. Right, so we saw %s was the formatting the formatting character to be used for strings, so that makes sense. Substrings use the indexer notation. This line extracts the first 7 characters as a substring. Note that like many languages, strings are 0 indexed in FSharp. Good choice. So by doing dot, really? All right. Let substring equal I am the walrus. And then if I do substring dot, and that is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If I do 9, dot, dot. Now, is it position or is it number of characters? If I do that. Nope. Oh, yeah, go back to, wait, no, where am I? So if it's 5 characters, go 14. Cool, okay. Double semicolons. Yeah. Tuples in FSharp are reference types. You need to use value tuples if you want to use a struct. However, from a type theory perspective, int star int is a Cartesian product because the type represents the Cartesian product of all pairs of ints. This is why functional programming isn't widespread. I don't know about that. It's hard to move. It's hard to change people, right? Tuples are a big deal in FSharp. Oh, speak of the devil, tuples. They're a group of unnamed but ordered values. They can be treated as values themselves. Think of them as values which are aggregated from other values. Right. They have many uses, such as conveniently returning multiple values from a function, or grouping values for some ad hoc convenience. Yeah. So very similar to what we're doing in C#. A simple tuple, actually it's not, it's in C#, but there's also the base class library type of tuple with a generic, don't go there. All right, a simple tuple of integers. So that's not an array. That's an object with 1, 2, 3. Okay. C# compat needs struct tuples, though, so it's not completely gone. Okay. A function that swaps the order of 2 values in a tuple. FSharp type inference will automatically generalize the function to have a generic type, meaning it will work with any type. So let swap elms, so it'll take in... So, hang on. When we had a function up here that took in 2 arguments, right? Where'd that go with the function? We had a function here somewhere. Or was that over in the other one? Yeah, here it was. Right, so sample function... No, these only took in 1 value. Oh, no. No, right there. It took in 1 value with... All right. So let's go back to this. So it's taking in a tuple A comma B, and it's swapping them. That makes sense, okay. A tuple consisting of an integer, a string, and a double precision floating point number. Okay, so you're right, you're mixing and matching types. That kind of makes sense. As of FSharp 4.1, you can also create struct tuples. These also interoperate fully with C# 7 Visual Basic 15 tuples, which are also struct tuples, right? They call them value tuples. I don't know, the more... I find the more I ignored comp sci ideas, the bigger hole I dug. Let's see how big a hole I can dig. The second line below will fail to will fail to compile because of this. Uncomment to C. Okay, so using the struct keyword there makes it a struct tuple. These interoperate completely with structs in C# and VB. Struct tuples are not implicitly convertible with object tuples. Yes, the reference tuples. Although, okay, hang on. Let sample struct tuple struct 1, 2. This will not compile. Int star int equals struct 1, 2. Why not? Aren't you being explicit about it? Uncomment it to see what happens. Don't mind if I do. I'll take that. Only tuple type is a struct tuple. The other is a reference tuple. Oh. One tuple type is a struct tuple. The other is a reference. So is it telling me that this is a reference and it's trying to assign a struct tuple? You have to type annotate it as struct int int. Well, let's give that a shot. Because Chusk said so. No, come here. I was over there. Control arrow won't go for me. Struct. If I put another paren at the end here. Makes sense. Okay. Okay, I got it. So the struct keyword isn't used over here, so it's not inferring. It's using this as a reference, not the struct type. Although you can, right. Oh. Okay. Convert from struct tuple. Convert to struct tuple. Okay. It's important to note that because struct tuples, so this is a function receiving a struct tuple, and it's going to output a new reference tuple. Got it. And this one's receiving a reference tuple, and it's outputting a struct tuple. Got it. When calling printfn, why do you need to put parentheses around a function like printfn? Test %e. Super Pichu7, thank you for the follow. Look forward to seeing you in the chat room. We're learning FSharp together. With FSharp removing lots of special characters, this must have some significance I do not see. I don't know. It's important to note that because struct tuples are value types, they cannot be implicitly converted to reference tuples. Makes sense. You must explicitly convert. Yep. Okay. Here's what I was wondering about these operators. Pipe operators and composition operators are used extensively when processing data. These operators are functions which allow you to establish pipelines of functions in a flexible manner. Ooh. Sounds interesting. Yeah, Rick, it's exciting. The following example walks you through how you could take advantage of these operators to build a simple functional pipeline. Why didn't you tell me what these things are first? I mean, you've declared 8 operators here, but all right. Pipe greater than is my favorite operator. Okay. Squares of value. Let square x equal x star x. Okay, so this is, let me make sure I'm following. We've defined a function called square that takes one argument, x, and we're just going to square it. Make sense? Add 1. So this is a function called add 1, takes one argument x and adds 1. Okay, that's productive. Tests if an integer value is odd via modulo. Okay, so we have the same % modulo operator from the .NET-based class library available here. Is odd x equals x %2. So if the leftover after we divide by 2 does not equal 0. Okay, right? This is the does not equal test that we have in VB, right? Instead of the exclamation point equals like we're used to seeing in JavaScript, TypeScript, or C#. A list of 5 numbers. Okay, hang on. So square brackets separated by semicolons is a list. Numbers in parentheses separated by commas is a struct. Okay, so this feels like an array. I'll see why. Oh, Fubarius, you guys are teasing me here. Given a list of integers, it filters out the even numbers, squares the resulting odds, and adds 1 to the squared odds. That's a lot. All right, let's see what this is. Let square odd values add 1. Values equals. Okay, so this is declaring a function, a multi-line function, right? Because it said that indents are significant. Okay. So this is the body of the function, if I have it correctly. Let odds equal list dot-filter. Okay, so this looks like it's taking the list object and using the filter method on it, filter function on it, and using okay, let's make sure I get this right. Is odd, well, that's a function. So is it saying apply a filter using the isOdd function to the values list module, actually. Okay. Yeah, I've got to get module and class square in my head here. Let squares equal list.map. Okay. Okay, hang on. So isOdd returns a Boolean. So I guess it's going to keep in the list those values that match. I'm guessing that's what the filter function does. Map, it's going to take the square method, square function, pass in the odds. Okay, and odds is the new list that we got as the result of this. So it's going to execute. So map, I'm guessing, is going to take the square function defined here and execute that for each value in the odds list that was built here and assign that to a new list and stash it in squares. Okay. And then we're going to do that same map. Okay, and we're going to use the add1 function here. And we're going to add 1 to the squares list that came out of this and put the result of that, which will be another list, because I think that's what map does, in the result. So we'll get, okay, filter equals where, map equals select. Map actually feels like apply this function to this value. That's what it feels like, and I haven't seen documentation yet, so that's what it, from what little that I've seen up here, that's what it feels like to me. But let's see. You guys have used this more than I have. Okay, so let's do this. Let's copy this. I'm going to paste it in here, and oh shoot, I don't have those functions defined. All right, well, let's copy this whole chalupa over here. Ah, come on, where is it? There it is. All right, paste that whole thing in. So it did something. So let's do this print fn. All right. I think I need to copy that whole thing all at once. You're going to copy the spacing. Make sure you get the module declaration as well. Yeah, but then how do I execute it? I mean, all right, let's do that. Paste that in there. What? That's not what's in here. Okay, there we go. Processing through square produces 2, 10, 26. Okay, so is odd. So 1 will pass through, 3 will pass through, 5 will pass through. Square those odds. Okay, so 1 squared is 1. 3 squared is 9. And 5 squared is 25, and then it's going to add 1. So 2, 10, 26. Okay, makes sense. A shorter way to write square odd values at 1 is to nest each subresult into the function calls themselves. Let square odd values add 1 nested equals list.map. Add 1. Okay. So it's going to apply the add 1 function to inside the parentheses here, list.map. Okay, so the parentheses. Oh, I can execute it with module name, function name, args in the REPL. Okay, so let's go back to Ugh. Let's restart that. So if I send file, okay, so there it is. So you're saying if I do, that's not where I wanted to be. Down here. If I do pipelines, ooh, it even auto-completes. Fancy. Dot function name. Square values and add one. Numbers. Oh, numbers doesn't exist here. But it is in pipelines. Okay. That makes sense to me. I'm going to wonder about scope later, but we'll figure that out. So list.map add one, list.map square, and these are in parentheses, so I guess that's just a way of grouping because I'm not using a comma or anything in here to turn it into a tuple. List.map, so square, and the value being passed into there is the argument being passed in is list.filter is odd on that. Okay, so we're chaining these together. Very fluent-like syntax. Okay. A preferred way to write is to use FSharp pipe operators. This allows you to avoid creating intermediate results, but it's much more readable than nesting function calls like that. Yeah, I agree. All right, so reading this and having to comprehend what's going on here, I see what this comment is saying. I'm kind of having to read right to left, right? And from inside parentheses out, right? I'm saying, this is what I'm doing first. This is what I'm doing second. This is what I'm doing third. Parens are nested expressions in that use. Is the pipe operator useful? Because FSharp compiler does not do tail call optimization. It does do tail call optimization. All right. So this is saying values, and okay. So this is piping it in as the argument to the isOdd function being called on list.filter, and then it's taking the result of that and piping it into the result of this, and taking the result of that and piping it into add one. Okay, I see where that is more readable than this. Okay. I'm missing some of the comments. I dislike C#'s link names since they go against every other language's terms for the same features. It's more in tune with SQL. Yeah. Okay. We can shorten by moving the second list map into the first using a lambda function. Note that pipelines are also being used inside the lambda function. The C# pipe operators can be used for single values as well. This makes them very valuable for processing. Okay, so values. So we're going to pump the values in as the argument to list.filter is odd. Okay. List.map, and then we're going to, it looks like we're chaining these together. So we're going to map the function x assigned to, so each value from the list, so 135, x is being is going to, each one of those in turn is going to go through this pipeline. So 1, pipe it into the argument of the square method, square function, pump the result of that into the argument for the add one function, and that's what's going to be output from this lambda function. So we declare lambda functions with the fun name. Okay. All right. Lastly, you can eliminate the need to explicitly take values in as a parameter by, oh boy, by using greater than to compose the two core functions, filtering out even numbers, then squaring and adding 1. Likewise, the funX bit of lambda expression is also not needed because x is simply being defined in that scope so that it can be passed to a functional pipeline. Thus, greater than can be used there as well. All right, so before I read the rest of this, let's see if I can figure this out. We're saying list.filter, so that's where we started with all of these, is filter, and we're going to apply is_odd to every element inside the list, so that still makes sense. And so this looks like we've taken the vertical pipe greater than operator, and we're saying take the result of this, pump it into the list.map. So far, I don't see a difference between this operator, the pipe greater than, and the greater than. But let me keep reading, analyzing this, and then we'll read the comment. So we're going to pump the result of that into list.map. Okay. And we're going to map. Right, so we're going to apply map to... This is confusing now. Okay, so Christoph is saying pipe passes data, combines the function. Combines the function. Function composition. All right, so let me read this. Because, right, where here I'm clearly passing the value, right, the list. Hang on, now I'm getting confused. I'm passing the list in as the argument. Hang on. I'm confusing myself. So, all right, this is applying filter is without seeing the syntax of filter is applying the is_odd function to values. And then I'm guessing gets a list out. Okay. List.filter is applying the is_odd function to values. And because it's here after square, it's the argument being passed into the square function that's being cast for every element being executed. Okay. List.filter here is applying is_odd. And I guess the vertical pipe is passing, like Christoph was saying, passing the data from values into that. And this, I'm guessing, is passing the result of that as data in over here. Okay. Okay. All right, so now looking at this, I got to get my mind around this. The result, okay. Yeah. The result of square odd values and add one composition is itself another function which takes a list of integers as its input. That's not clear to me because I don't see, right? I don't see a value here. It glues two functions together. Okay. Hang on, Hannamore. We're going to figure this out. We're going to understand this. If you execute, you'll notice it produces the same result. This is known as function composition. This is possible because functions in FSharp use partial application and input, and the input and output types of each data processing operation match the signatures of the functions we're using. Try copying this to the editor and checking the tooltips. All right. Okay, so that's... Okay. So filter, predicate. Predicate T, assign... I'm still not getting it into my head how to read that yet. I'm still thinking C-sharpish. The input list, the function to test the input elements. Okay, so the input list, also known as composition of two functions f and g, is another function h, f of g of x. All right, I can follow that, God's go. Currying is not the same as a partial application. It enables it, but is not the same. All right, hang on. Imagine you have a function that takes apples and converts to oranges, and another function that takes oranges to bananas. If you use greater than, you can now make a function that takes apples and converts to bananas. Apples to oranges, oranges to bananas. You're gluing the result of one onto the input parameters of the other. Okay. So it's taking in a list, the function to test the input elements. So, and then it's taking that element and it should result a Boolean. Right. But how does that show the difference between... Yeah, hang on, we'll get there. So we're chaining these together is what I'm seeing. So we're going to filter is odd. The resulting collection, the resulting list is having map applied to it, and map is taking in a list and it's applying it to it. What I'm is applying the square and add 1 in that order to it. Okay, I get it. I'm still missing in my head where the input parameter is for these things. Because the input parameter, right? So we're filtering, and this is the first argument to filter is the predicate, and then it's the list, right? So filter, the first argument is odd, right? So that's the predicate, and then the list will apply to it. But we're chaining this together with map. They're basically the same. The pipe has to deal with arguments, where greater than you don't need arguments. Okay. So we're taking the list that's being passed in that isn't declared here, and we're going to pass that as the second argument into both of these. Right? This is my map function. Right? This is what would be my lambda. Okay. I think I have that. That's the big concept here. Square odd values and add 1 composition doesn't have an explicit values parameter. The missing value are implicit due to how we've chained the functions. Okay, I got you, Chusk. Okay, so with greater than, the argument is derived from the functions rather than the specified as it was with pipe. So Isaac says, think of greater than like this. I'm writing a function that takes in a value, etc., etc. Think of it as I want to plug 2 functions together. Square add 1 is the same as let square add 1 x equal x pipe. Yeah, okay. It's like connecting straws together, connecting pipes, right? So whatever comes out of this is going to flow right into the next one. Let combine 2 numbers, 3 and 4, and combine them with plus such that... Okay. All right. We're at 12:20. Let me just make sure. Let me just keep an eye on when my first meeting is here. So I've got time. All right. So I think we're going to finish this first tour page, and we'll call it a day here. List arrays and sequences. List arrays and sequences, 3 primary collection types in the C# core library. FSharp. Ooh. Okay, FSharp core library. I got it. Lists are ordered immutable collections of elements of the same type. Okay. Singly linked lists, which means they are meant for enumeration, but a poor choice for random access and concatenation if they're large, in contrast to lists in other popular languages which typically do not use singly linked lists to represent lists. So it's a list, but it looks like an array to me in my C# JavaScript mind. Oh, that makes it a little bit easier to separate them on separate lines. So spaces and an indentation are very important in FSharp. This is a list of integers from 1 to 1000. I do like that double period operator. Lists can also be generated by computations. This is a list containing all the days of the year. For month in 1 to 12, do. For day in 1 to system date time days in month, 2017 month. So there we're taking in the month argument, the month value as an argument here. Do yield system date time 2017 month day. Okay. Array literal uses. All right. Computations can include conditionals. This is a list containing the tuples, which are the coordinates of the black squares on a chessboard. For I in 0 to 7, right? Because a chessboard is 8 by 8, right? And then every other square is white or black, right? Okay, so 0 to 7 for j in 0 to 7. If I plus j %2, so if the sum of them modulo 2, so if the leftover of the division by 2 equals 1, then it's that coordinate. I never thought about it like that. All right. Okay. But so that's all enclosed in square brackets. So this, I'm guessing this gets executed, and then those structs yielded get dumped into the list. Structs. I called it structs. Tuples. All right. Lists can be transformed using list.map and other functional programming combinators. Okay. This definition produces a new list by squaring the numbers in number list using the pipeline operator to pass an argument to list.map. Okay. So we're going to take number list. Where was number list? That was up here somewhere. 1 to 1000. List.map. Yeah, we did this before. There's my lambda function. But we had this broken out as another function called square. Good question, Fubarius. I have no idea, but you got the right people in the room to answer it. Yeah. Okay, there are many other list combinations. The following computes the sum of squares of the numbers divisible by 3. Okay, and here we're using the pipe, so we're piping values here. So we're taking number list, list.filter, lambda, function of x. So each value, and this feels like such that, right? The fat arrow that we have in C#. So if that number modulo 3, so this is going to give me just the multiples of 3. And then list.sumBy computes the sum of the squares. So we're going to sum, we're going to aggregate, and then square those values. Okay. Right, I see SumBy, and I think the sum aggregate function in SQL, right, in SQL. Arrays are fixed size mutable collections. Oh. All right, so that's the reverse in C#. In C#, an array is immutable unless you monkey with it with link. But even then, it returns a different array. And we ran into that problem yesterday on stream. But lists are immutable. Okay. They support fast random access of elements and are faster than FSharp lists because they are just contiguous blocks of memory. That makes sense. So I can understand why. This is an empty array. Note the syntax is similar to that of lists, but uses vertical pipe instead. Okay. So square brackets with vertical pipes are arrays. Arrays are specified using the same range of constructs, again, as lists. This is an array of numbers. This is an array containing only the words hello and world. Let array 4 for word in array 2. Okay. If word contains L, then yield word. So it'll go through each one of those. Makes sense. Okay. This is an array initialized by index. Okay. And containing the even numbers from 0 to 2000. Array init 1001. Okay. So wait, hang on. Initialized by index contains the even numbers. Okay, so this is going to initialize 1001 spots. And it's going to pass hang on. I missed the last 45 minutes because can you go back and start over? Stop it.
And you blew it.
You blew it, C17. It'll be over on YouTube later. I don't understand the array init. Is it initializing with the numbers 0 through 1001? Subarrays are extracted using slicing notation. So this looks like the same notation that I used to do the substring. You can loop over arrays and lists using for loops. We saw that up here for word in it. Put array.init into REPL and check out the signature. All right. All right, I'll do that. Why is right-click pasting? Stop it. Restart that. I'm not in the right place. Array.init. It's not clear to me what the single quote A is. So if I... That's not how you spell array. The value it has been inferred to have generic type. Huh? Oh, okay. Quote A is generic, so like T and C#. Okay. You can also check tooltips. It takes a length and an initialization. It's not showing me the length. Oh boy. Yeah, but why does this go... Where's it getting the numbers that it's passing into that function? Thought I had to understand some basics. Okay. You can modify the contents of an array element by using the left arrow. It's the index of that particular element. It's the count you passed in there. So this is doing effectively a count of numbers 0 to 1000. Ah, there we go. Thank you, Cryptrix. That explains it a little bit. Okay. Got it. Okay. All right, that makes sense. Thank you. You can modify the contents of an array element by using... Oh, wait. Yeah, we already saw this in some of the other samples. You can modify the contents of an array element by using the left arrow assignment operator. To learn more about this operator, see... we'll come back to that later. Array to element 1? Assign the... Alright. Right, because arrays are mutable. They can be changed. You can transform arrays using array map and other functional programming operations. The following calculates the sum of the lengths of the words that start with H. So we'll take array 2, and array 2 were these words, hello world. Array.filter, and we're going to say string starts with H. Okay, I'm familiar with some of those string predicate functions. Array sum by function of x. So we're going to take the results of those and we're going to pump them into this sum by x.length. Okay, I get it. Sequences are logical series of elements, all of the same type. These are a more general type than lists and arrays, capable of being your view into a logical series of elements. Okay. They also stand out because they are lazy, which means that elements can be computed only when they're needed. Ah, interesting. This is the empty sequence, is seq empty. This is a sequence of values, seq. Oh, and then using the yield keyword to only return that value. All right. This is an on-demand sequence from 1 to 1000. This is a sequence producing the words hello and world. It's doing the exact same for, but it's yielding, it's not executing this until it gets to them. This sequence produces the even numbers up to 2000, and it's the same sequence init with that index. System.random, we're familiar, I thought it was math.random. This is an infinite sequence, which is a random walk. This example uses yield to return each element of a subsequence. Yield x and then yield bang. FSharp ranges include the last number. Right. So 1 to 1000 includes, but we're saying give me 1001 entries, which will be 0 through 1000 because that's 1001 entries. An infinite sequence, which is a random walk, to return each element of a subsequence. I'm not familiar with that. This example shows the first 100 elements of the random walk. So random walk 5. So it's going to pass... Alright, I'm going to have to take your word on this. That's not clear to me what that's doing. But it's clearly... It's nesting itself here. Math.random is JavaScript. Ah. Yeah, without introducing the yield bang here, I'm a little confused as to what this is doing. I can see that we've nested. We've got recursion here. So does this not get executed until called? How's that different from the other yield? Yield back a collection. Ah. Instead of a value. Okay. But what's the rec here? What is REC? We haven't seen that keyword yet. So I'm a little confused as to what is that. Is that declaring that it's a recursive function? I'm guessing. The let rec tells it that it's a recursive. Okay, all right. So thinking this through now with the input Isaac has there. So we're going to yield. Why do we have to? We're going to yield x, yield random walk, next double minus 0.5. Yeah, that's confusing. To my eyes that aren't used to reading this yet. All right. So I'm going to skip forward to recursive functions. Collections of elements typically done with recursion. I never do a lot of recursion. But okay. This example shows recursive function that computes the factorial of an integer. It uses let rec to define a recursive function. So let this recursive function called factorial takes in an argument of n equal if n equals 0, then 1, else n times factorial of n minus 1. That makes sense. Got it. Okay, so we're gonna return the value 1. Otherwise, n times the this exact same thing again. Yeah. All right, that's simple. I hate recursion personally. You can, in my experience, skip it with collection functions like fold and reduce most of the time. It isn't so scary when you have tail call optimization. All right. So, greatest common factor, yeah, that's example computes the sum of a list of integers using recursion, and now we've got match. So is match? Yeah, we've jumped into introducing match. If you're dealing with recursive data structures, right? Okay, yeah. This is slightly losing me here because we've introduced the match keyword and the private keyword. Blue Marmalade. Hey, welcome. Thank you for the follow. We're learning some FSharp together. Let's see here. Records are an aggregate of named values with optional members. If you're familiar with C# or Java, these should feel similar to POCOs or POJOs, right? POCO, plain old C# object. POJO, plain old Java object. Just with structural equality and less ceremony. This example shows how to define a new record type. So type, contact card, and I guess these are our properties. Name, and it's a type string. Phone is a type string. Verified is a type of Boolean. I get the feeling Jeff is silently criticizing the tutorial here. I think I'm being very transparent about what's confusing me and what isn't, and I'm trying to skip forward and pick up things that I do understand here. I'm more than happy to provide feedback to the folks that write the tutorial, right? This is on our docs site, the Microsoft Docs site. They're open for GitHub pull requests. So, maybe we can take some of that feedback and improve them. There's always folks who will understand some of these things, and there's folks that won't understand it at first glance. And I'm, right now, one of those persons who it's taken me a few minutes to pick these up. That's okay. Maybe there's more that we can add to the tutorial to make it easier for some of the folks on my side who are taking a little bit of time to learn. So I'm reading this similar to a class. Right? This is FSharp getting into building some objects to work with. Is there a real project you want to use FSharp for? I think, Sushinator, I think we might be able to replace some of our command logic in our chatbot with FSharp, because we're doing a lot of string processing there. This might make more sense in that syntax, in that location, right? FSharp may process faster there, where we're taking in messages here like Cryptrix saying, so records are like tuples, but elements are named. Taking that parsing that and doing something with it looks like it'd be much easier to do with F# than what we're doing in C#. But I don't know yet. Let's take a look. So this is all about learning together, right? We're pair programming. Gosh, we've got some real experts in the chat room here with us today, and I thank you. I really appreciate you tuning in and watching me stumble through the tutorial here. And you know, I'm learning some things about the tools. We'll get there. You know, hopefully, you know, after a few shows, we'll be working on a project together and building something cool with F#. Okay, so we're instantiating a record type. So, okay, record type, it's more complex. It's more complex than one of our primitive types, Boolean, integer, number, the various number types, strings, and we've created this more complex type. That makes a lot of sense to me as an object-oriented developer. You can also do this on one line with semicolon operators. Yeah, okay. We would do commas in C#. So that makes sense to me. This example shows how to copy and update on record values. It creates a new record value that is a copy of contact1, but has different values for phone and verified. So let contact2 equal, and then in curly brackets, contact1 with, and then modifying the values. Okay. Sounds a bit like JavaScript prototype. F# records are like classes that have a lot of things generated for you, like equality, with some of the semantic structs. Yeah. Okay. This example shows how to write a function that processes a record value. It converts a contact card object into a string. So we're explicitly defining the argument coming in. C is a type of contact card. Okay, once again, that tuple notation that I'm familiar with from C#. C.name plus phone plus cphone plus, and then we're capturing the output of this if statement. If not, C.verified. Interesting, using a not keyword and not the exclamation point operator. So not is the operator to flip booleans. Okay. Then output the text, yield the text unverified, else double quote. Okay. And we're using alf there. Good thing I don't have a cat anymore. Mixing F#, C#, and Q# in the same solution. Yeah, you can do that. It's all .NET. For show contact card, what if it is verified? What is appended? Implicit empty string. Yes. So if verified is true, right, so it would flip this to false, which means not this element, but the else. It would add an empty string. Yeah. This is an example of a record with a member. A record with a member. Contact card alternate. Name, phone, address. Verified. Well, wait a sec. What do you mean by a member? Because all I see is a record type here that has just another property in it. Right? Or it's a record type, let me call it correctly. It has another record value in it. How is that a member? I don't understand. Members can implement object-oriented members. Oh boy. Can implement object-oriented members. This printed contact card. Oh, wait a sec. Oh. Okay, hang on. This is still indented, so this is part of the definition of contact card, even though the curly braces ended. Yeah, I didn't pick up. I thought this was another statement. Okay, so member, so this is effectively defining a function, it looks like, called printed contact card as part of contact card alternate. It's just a getter-only property. Yeah, okay. Okay. So printed contact card, and then it's doing that same format. All right. So let contact alternate equal, and then so it's assigning those properties, those values to the record values. Alf, phone number, verified address. Members are accessed via the dot operator. So members, to my head, to C# thinking, are exposed as methods, is what it feels like, or a computed. It's a getter-only property or a computed field in a SQL table. Okay, it's a computed field. I got that makes more sense to me. Cryptrix. Okay, FSharp, a member is just a property or a method on a record. Okay, so these are more like fields, and this is like a computed property. Okay, got it. Okay, that makes sense to me. Anything inside a class, fields, properties, and methods are members. Okay. But this is a... Okay. As of FSharp 4.1, you can represent records as structs. This is done with the struct attribute. Okay, so we're forcing this into a struct, so it's a value type instead of a reference type. Okay. Discriminated unions, DUs, are values which could be a number of named forms or cases. Data stored in the type can be one of several distinct values. The following represents the suit of a playing card. Type suit equals pipe hearts, pipe clubs, pipe diamonds, pipe spades. A discriminated union can also be used to... So is this a discriminated union? Can also be used to represent the rank of a playing card. Value of int is king, queen, jack. It looks like it is. Just like from Ada, soon to be in C# also. How's this different from an enum? Because it looks like an enum. Discriminated unions can also implement object-oriented members. Static, all right, hang on. We're indented here. So this member, get all ranks, is static. So you could say rank, get all ranks method. Right, because it's got the two parens. And we're going to yield ace, I in 2 through 10, and then jack, queen, king. Okay. The enum determines what other fields are valid. With enums, you can't attach data. DUs let you attach data to each case. I need to see that in action. This is a record type that combines a suit and a rank. It's common to use both records and discriminated unions when representing data. So rank is... Okay, so hang on. So suit is it's an enum. That looks like an enum. But we're able to attach to the enum of these couple of values a method. We're able to extend it. Okay. Think of a DU as a class hierarchy. In this case, rank is the base class and the others are subclasses. Okay. All right. So we're defining a record. All right, so we're defining a record type of card that has a value called suit and a value called rank, and those are of those types. This computes a list representing all the cards in the deck. Okay, so full deck. So the full deck object value for suit in, but we've why are we right? We have those in rank. For rank in rank, get all ranks. Yeah. Do yield suit equals suit, rank equals rank, and it's in curly braces. Because it's a record type, it's not a tuple. Okay, this example converts a card object to a string. I'm kind of missing why you would do that and not do some sort of a for loop through the suit types. I think the get all ranks makes it kind of clear. Rank, 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 rank. You're killing me there, C17. You're killing me, Smalls. This example prints all the cards. Oh, wait, I didn't even read this. Let rank string equals match C rank with pipe. If it's ace, I'll put the string ace. If it's king, yield king. If it's queen, yield the string queen. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. Value n. What's value? I guess value is that. Okay. Is there a toString in FSharp? Well, I think that's what you're seeing right there. Let suit string equal match C suit with, and then we're just converting those. Rank string plus of suit string. So that's what we're returning because it's the last statement with nothing attached to it. This example prints all the cards in a playing deck. Print all cards. For card in full deck. Where's full deck? Oh, up here. Do print the string formatted with the argument of show playing card. So we're going to use show playing card function to format the card as a string. All right. Hey, Johnny Most, thanks for triggering the uptime there. You can also use DUs. So I'm not sold on this yet, but okay. Single case discriminated unions to help with domain modeling over primitive types. Oftentimes, strings and other primitive types are used to represent something and are thus given a particular meaning. However, using only the primitive representation of the data can result in mistakenly assigning an incorrect value. Yes. Representing each type of information as a distinct single case union can enforce correctness. Yes, I've seen this in Delphi. They do something similar, right? We're going to say there's an address type that it's really a string. Right. So it's address is really a string, but we're going to call it. Yeah. So we're effectively subclassing a type. You can instantiate a single case DU as follows. Right, so we're saying this is an address and here's the string to go with it. So we can pass around address as a type of address. Makes sense? Same thing for name, SSN as an int. Okay. When you need the value, can you unwrap? This shouldn't be here. This should be GDPR. Get rid of that. No. When you need the value, you can unwrap the underlying value with a simple function. So unwrap address is a function that's going to take in an address and it's going to return a. I guess that's the string. Pointing single case DUs. Printing is simple with unwrapping functions. So we're taking the address and we're going to pump the value, the value into unwrap address. Okay. Type alias is something different. This is a DU with just one case. It's more obvious when using ints like IDs as ints. You can't add two IDs together. Yes. That makes a lot of sense. You can't do math on IDs, right? That's not an ID is just it's a pointer. That's it. Two zip codes don't have the same properties as ints. There's a great example. Angry Bird. Yeah, I like that one too. All right. As the above sample demonstrates, to get the underlying value, you must explicitly unwrap it. Additionally, DUs also support recursive definitions, allowing you to easily represent trees and inherently recursive data. Let me see how much further we have here. Pattern matching, optional types. I don't have time to go through the rest of this. I actually need to. So here's what I'm going to do. We've gotten pretty far here. I'm going to stop here in the middle of discriminated unions because I'm running out of time. I've got some things I need to get to before my next meeting. But I want to thank everybody for joining me here today. This is interesting. This is something that I definitely need to spend some time around, and I need to write some real code with. I feel like I might need to write some dumb console applications just to execute some code, just so I can get the feeling of this. But I think I'm getting the hang of this. The pipes are making sense to me. Some of the function definitions and passing back and forth. I need to spend some time around these discriminated unions. You know, it is oh my gosh, learning something new it always takes time, because you have to unlearn what you already know. So yeah, Black Nemesis, you're right. Let's get some real world examples here and start applying some of this. So I'll work on figuring out a real world example, something in a console app, that we can just doink around, just to get the feeling for how some of this glues together before we start trying to use it with something more complex like our string processing for the chatbot. Don't resort to console apps. Use the REPL. Way more productive as a learning tool. I've heard people say that about REPLs are a good learning tool. I'm going to have to think about that, because that's not the way that I learned. I'm going to throw a sword over there to Isaac. Thanks so much for helping out today, Isaac. I really appreciate that. And if Christoph is still around, is he still here? Is he still here? No, it looks like Christoph took off. When he comes back, I'll toss a sword over to him. Treats it as a scripting language, not for programming in the large. Getting instant feedback is nice, but it's not. Let me think about it. I'm much more comfortable with the Ionide plugins using the terminal down here than trying to copy and paste things in from a file up here. That feels kind of clumsy right now, back and forth. And maybe it's I don't understand the tool, but we need to work on that. So, but thanks everybody for joining me here today and following along and giving me some tips there in the chat room. I definitely want to do this again, and we will absolutely do this again on Friday, going through and doing some more of this. Coming from C# to scripting language feels weird trying to find a real project to work on. So is next Friday? Yeah. I think we'll definitely continue FSharp Fridays here. I think we're gonna do this for at least a couple weeks. I'll send you some help and make it much more productive and enjoyable. Okay, thanks so much. I really appreciate that. So I'll archive off this video. We'll push it over to YouTube a little bit later. And thank you for everybody for chiming in and getting me pointed in the right direction here. There's a lot to learn, and we'll go through this, and we'll get into some projects, within the next few episodes here. So thanks so much, everybody. Let's change back to the other theme music here. We'll see you next time. Alrighty, tomorrow. All right, take care.